Hey, IOSTEX here. With Overwatch 2's beta starting soon, I wanted to share some thoughts about the arguably most impactful change coming with the game's next iteration, 5v5 being the default team sizes moving forward. Before we get started, I'd like to quickly share some information about me. I'm the former head coach of the academy teams from New York Excelsior and the Boston Uprising. I've worked as the coaching director for Hill Esports, and I own the biggest private coaching platform under iostex.com. Let's start with the first reason: higher esports viewership. In the age of streaming platforms like Twitch, and with esports being an ever-growing industry, it's no secret that a game's esports popularity heavily influences its overall popularity and player base. The larger the game's player base, the more attention the game will get from its developers, which for us means more skins, maps, game modes, and events. One of the main issues that Overwatch has faced so far in its esports scene, especially compared to slower-paced games like CSGO or League of Legends, is that it's incredibly difficult to spectate. Color-coded ability effects and reduced particle effects did help, but ultimately, simply removing 2 players from each map will do wonders for the visibility in-game. The game will still be fast-paced, but with less targets to shoot, less abilities and ultimates flying around, and less players on each team to follow and root for, it's going to be much easier for Overwatch to once again establish itself as a premier esport. Number 2. Lower barrier to entry. While a game's competitive scene is important, ultimately a big portion of the player base consists of more casual players, who might not be interested in the esports scene. Games nowadays grow mostly through word of mouth. More and more players play with friends, so if 3 people in a group of 10 play League, but only one of them plays Overwatch, all of them will play League. Getting into Overwatch has always been hard. There's so much stuff going on that it's incredibly frustrating to get into. Most new players have no idea what's going on. Now, each match will have 1 less teammate to keep track of, 1 less enemy to worry about. On top of that, having only 1 tank per team increases the pace of the game, meaning that new players won't have to worry about shooting shields all game. Another reason is that a lot of people enjoy playing with friends or joining voice chat. With 6 players, voice comms have always been incredibly hectic and overwhelming, but now that there's 1 less person talking, 1 less person needed for a full ranked stack, Overwatch will be much more attractive as a game to get into, especially for people new to the FPS genre, or people who have smaller friend circles who couldn't consistently get 6 people together for a pre-made game. Number 3. Lower queue times. The Holy Trinity describes the traditional role distribution that's existed in MMOs forever: 1 tank, 1 heal, 3 DPS. Overwatch launching with the requirement for 2 tanks and 2 healers for each team was bound to cause issues in terms of queue times. Nowadays, DPS players have to wait up to 10 to 15 minutes for a game, and priority passes did little to reduce queue times. Now that each game needs 2 tanks less to start, and the fact that DPS characters like Doomfist are now turning into tanks, queue times should reduce massively. But I know what you're saying. Aren't you being dramatic? Are lower queue times really going to make such a big difference? And the clear answer is yes. In case you haven't noticed, the reasons so far mainly target casual players. And that's because casual players keep games alive. And they don't want great balancing or a well-designed high elo ranked experience. They want regular fresh content and events to be excited about, and they want to be able to play a few games of Overwatch in their off time. I know a lot of players with limited playtime who would love to squeeze in a game of Overwatch after work, but simply can't because queuing alone takes so much time. With reduced queue times, Overwatch will become much more pick up and play than before. Squeezing in 1 more game before you go offline for the day will be much easier and more tempting than before, and ultimately, a healthy casual player base means a healthy game. 4th, better balancing. With 12 characters in each match, balancing was bound to become challenging. Every new character addition would send shivers down my spine. How are they going to balance this? Everyone who is familiar with math knows that the amount of playable team comps will go down dramatically if team comps will consist of only 5 characters instead of 6. And that is bound to make balancing way easier. This means that we can enjoy a more balanced game, while the dev team has more time and resources available to give us regular content updates. 5th, higher carry potential. And now for the final and most important reason: higher carry potential. Right now, you're only 1/6 of your team. You have to deal with 6 enemies, you have to carry 5 teammates, and you have to get past 2 tanks before you can access the enemy squishies. But when Overwatch 2 comes around, you are 1/5 of your team. You only have to carry 4 teammates, only have to kill 5 enemies, and there's only 1 tank standing between you and the enemy squishies. I can't emphasize enough how big of a difference this is going to make for ranked and casual players alike. League of Legends is 5v5, Dota 2 is 5v5, CSGO is 5v5, Valorant is 5v5. Overwatch being 6v6 was an anomaly, and Blizzard has finally realized while all the other esports titans have adopted the 5v5 system. Lower queue times, better balancing, easier spectatability, lower barrier to entry, and a much higher individual carry potential per player are all factors that will significantly improve the quality of life for both casual and competitive players alike. Add to that the fact that we will finally get new heroes, new maps, new game modes, and new lore, and Overwatch 2, despite its long development time, has a very good chance of revitalizing Overwatch and allowing it to earn its spot amongst other popular games around right now. What are your thoughts? Do you think 5v5 is a good change, or did you prefer 6v6? Let me know in the comments. If you're interested in coaching, you can get coached for as low as €10 a month on iostux.com. So if you want to get ready for Overwatch 2 Ranked, head over to iostux.com and secure your coaching session today. Alternatively, you can also join my Discord server in the video description and use the hashtag AskStuxAnything channel to ask questions for free, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. My name is Arostux, and I'd like to thank you for learning.